Buying Costco saunas with no sidewall heaters, no floor heaters in them. Buying Amazon saunas that have cold zones on a flare gun. Or you're in the sauna for an hour and you get out, and from the waist down, you're completely dry, just like I was when I tried some of these. So in an effort for you to not have really expensive firewood and not be able to get heat therapy that you've already spent your hard-earned money on, we're continually testing and trying, new ideas just for you guys, just for the community. If your sauna feels good, but not really intense, there's a bunch of ways that you can make it hotter, make the preheat time shorter, and make you sweat better in the same amount of time. After testing, modifying, using, tearing apart, reconstructing over 40 different sauna models in the last 6 years, I've found there's 3 main ways that you can easily add heat to any sauna, but not all of you guys are in the same exact position. Look at some of the install tutorials that you can see online, not just from me, but from other people, and go with caution. So number 1 is gonna be heat lamps. This is my go-to to add heat to any sauna, whether it's a traditional sauna, an infrared sauna, a hybrid sauna, it doesn't really matter. There's conditionals where we have them in a cold garage that's unheated, a cold basement. Maybe we bought a sauna that doesn't have a great heater layout, so just the heat performance is not ideal. The reason that this is a go-to is because it's very specific. You take one heat lamp bulb that's 250 watts, and you can easily calculate the headroom on your electrical circuit. If I have a one-person sauna that has a 1500 watt power supply, the maximum capacity for a 15 amp circuit that I'm gonna have in my home is about 1800 watts. You really shouldn't run that at max capacity, but in some cases you can get by with 1650 watt total capacity, 1750, something like that. It's getting a little close. Most electricians wouldn't recommend that, but I do it and I haven't had issues. This gives us an easy way to say, okay, we got 250 watts of extra heat. If we double that, we got 500 watts of extra heat, right? You're gonna have to adjust this depending on your needs, your situation, and there's some caveats to this. If you're in a really tiny one-person cabin, some of these things are not gonna work for you. Why? It's very simple. There's a distance to the actual human, a distance to the user in the seated body position. Some of these things have a really high surface temperature. So if you go sticking a patio heater over your head in this cabin, is it gonna blow your socks off with heat? Sure, but it's also gonna be too high of a surface temperature, too close to your skin, way too close to your face, where it's gonna be uncomfortable and potentially dangerous. Next on the list is modifying your external environment. Now this could be 2 things. It could be the space that the sauna is in. Some people are building sheds and putting the saunas in their backyard. So you could over-insulate that area, you could heat that area just a little bit, you could not do anything to the environment that the sauna is in and insulate the sauna itself. What most people don't understand is that when the sauna door is closed in a heated basement, you have stale air that's no longer involved in circulating with your HVAC system in the home. So unless you leave the door open intentionally, unless you're doing something to make sure that the sauna cabin is rising and lowering temperature along with whatever environment it's in. A lot of times there can be a 5, 10, 15, 20 degree discrepancy between what's going on inside the sauna and what's going on out. Smaller sauna is going to happen quicker with less energy. Larger sauna is usually bigger cubic footage, a larger power supply, also larger external heat needs in order to modify this process and make it work. I've seen people take insulation board and line the back and side walls of the sauna on the outside. Doesn't look very pretty, but it is effective. It's basically like creating a blanket. There might be some insulation blankets sold online that you can just drape over the whole thing. That would probably make a difference. I don't personally do that because I can't stand the look and I don't want to take a cover off and on every single time I'm going to use something. So the next point, you can stick an actual secondary heater inside the sauna, just on the floor, no mounting. You drape an extension cord through the door, through a window, through wherever you can fit it, a roof vent, it doesn't matter. There's a bunch of different versions of this, right? I cover some of these in the guides and tutorials in detail. I'm not advocating for any one specific person to do any one specific thing. There's a great match, for some pieces of equipment where this works awesome. Right off the bat, before I tell you what the heater choices are, you have to inherently know if you're gonna put something on the floor, if you're not gonna mount something on the ceiling up high away from you, the smaller the sauna, the worse and harder this is gonna be. Sometimes people have a one-person sauna that's so small you shouldn't do any of these modifications. You're using something that's way too close to the body and you simply just do not have space to allow for the application of something like this to be added. So, number 1, one-person sauna, You're not putting a traditional sauna heater in there. You're literally gonna be on top of the thing, and as the heat barrels out of the top, what's it gonna hit first? Your face, your chest. Not gonna work very well, right? So that's out. 2-person and bigger, now you have the option to pretty much look into any of these. 3-person and bigger, you can pretty much choose any of them and you have enough space, enough distance. Now, keep in mind, if you stick a traditional sauna heater on a sidewall in a 3-person sauna, no one is gonna be able to sit right next to it. So if you could fit 3 people in there before, now you're only gonna be able to fit 2. But I feel like I have to really spell this out based on some of the comments and the questions that I'm getting here. I mean, I have pictures and videos and stuff of me doing this, and I'm very forward about, I wouldn't sit next to that thing. But for some reason, that doesn't always, the idea of this is not sticking. So let me be ultra crystal clear. There's a minimum distance for all these applications. I don't care if it's the heat lamp bulb in the ceiling. They have a surface temperature that's a few hundred degrees. You do not want those close to your face. You don't want them close to your body because you won't be able to sit in one position without moving because that particular area will be overheated. Doesn't mean that your body can't tolerate the extra heat. It's just simply the size of the container, the size of the enclosure that you're working with doesn't work. Yeah, so for those 1-person saunas, you're pretty much limited to working with the external environments, insulating the sauna. You'd have to do a toned down, heater approach. We're working on some ways that people can outfit those that don't require great distance, but I haven't perfected it yet, and until we do, I wouldn't recommend it because you're gonna buy all this stuff and you're gonna stick it in there and you're gonna be like, oh my God, it's 6 inches from my body and it's awful. And I don't like to recommend anything that's potentially dangerous for the user. So there's that. So I've given you a lot of options. The basis of this video is just to outlay what those choices are. All of these are gonna be DIY options. So it's up to you, to follow this guidance and choose the appropriate thing for your unique needs, your situation. If you have specific questions, as always, you can ping us in the Facebook group, but we also have courses and resources for you guys that's step-by-step me showing you exactly how to modify these saunas and make them work. This really stems from, I see you still buying Costco saunas with no sidewall heaters, no floor heaters in them. I see you buying Amazon saunas that have cold zones on a FLIR gun. Like the amount of blue zones in the saunas are just nuts. Or you're in the sauna for an hour and you get out and from the waist down you're completely dry, just like I was when I tried some of these. So in an effort for you to not have really expensive firewood and not be able to get heat therapy that you've already spent your hard-earned money on, we're continually, testing and trying, new ideas just for you guys, just for the community. And when I come out with a new version of something that works in a compact package, we'll have an update for you that'll work with 1-person saunas, mini saunas, maybe even some portable saunas, which is very, very helpful for a lot of you folks. Until then, hope this helps. We've given you a lot of ideas on how to make your sauna hotter no matter what environment it's in. See you in the next video.